Okay. So we're back, and we have 2 episodes now back to back, and they're basically the same, but they're going to be dedicated to different types of businesses. So
Okay.
if you're in the service-based type of business, this is for you. And if you're in retail, then watch the next episode. So what we want to do on this episode is try to pick out, if we could pick out one key ingredient for expanding a service-based business. So a little bit of prerequisite, we'll say that you've been in business for a little bit of time, maybe 3 to 5 years. It's hard to put a year mark because some businesses grow faster than others for various reasons. But we'll just say you've been in business for some time. You've had time to ramp up sales. Maybe you have some good cash flow. Maybe you've started to put some systems in place, and your business is looking good. Financially, it's looking good. And maybe you have some good marketing going now. And kind of wherever you fall in that place now, if maybe, I think service-based businesses, a lot of it's B2B, or it can be B2B. So you are looking for contracts, and you might have a contract or 2 that are coming in the pipeline that are bigger than maybe you've had before. That's one very common scenario where you'll have a business that, lives off of a handful of big contracts. And so maybe you have a couple of those coming in the pipeline and you're trying to ramp up for it. Maybe you need to backfill inventory. Maybe you need a bigger warehouse space. Maybe you need to, kind of look at that next phase of growth. So, I mean, there's lots of different ways that someone can get to the next phase of growth. That's just one, potential, but we're saying this is a financially sound company and things are going well. So if you're in a service-based business, then what's that key ingredient that you would say is the one thing that's like, you got to pay attention to this?
I'm thinking because banking pretty much is service. Yeah, we sell products of banking accounts, but I mean, really it's service.
Yeah.
I would say we're service primarily for our customers.
Well, you do service individuals or businesses. You have business, B2B, and you have the B2C. You have the people, the retail come through.
Yeah, we're not.
And it's kind of a hybrid.
A containage firm, but pretty much, we offer the same things as every other bank. So it's comes down to service of retainage. I think when it comes down to it, once you've already established, once you got that, now you want to grow service, is through your existing clientele, your existing that being able to go back to them when you're meeting a new prospect to be able to say, here are my references, people that have already been with you those few years, and those stories of how you have helped them on their service. Yeah. I think that is key. That is number one.
I like that.
Whether it is, I'm so freaking sick and tired of getting emailed, here's my white paper. And, because I think 99% of white papers are so full of shit. Yeah. But if you have, and they're overused. Hey, download my white paper so I catch you. No, I mean, this is just garbage on the white paper. You could have told me this in 5 sentences. Yeah. But having really legitimate customer experiences that people can see. Yeah. I think that is really the next level. So
like showing testimonials, showing case studies, that kind of thing. Like, are you saying going back to your...
Yeah, depending on how broad you are. I mean, you could have a thriving business with, you're selling a service, but just have a few customers. But if you perform very well on those few customers, being able to either showcase that or having them as your reference for the next possible, I think is huge.
Yeah. It's funny when you started that answer, what I thought you were going to say, and maybe we'll just throw this out there as a tip, but it was, I thought you were going to say this concept of landing and expanding. So, you sign a customer and you get to know them and you do good work for them, and it's a great partnership. And then you start to sell them other services because it's a natural mutual benefit for both parties.
That's great if you got other services to sell them, but hey,
some people don't.
You may be sticking to this main service.
That's right.
But yes, I mean, if you're looking to, hey, I've got these 5 clients, I'm doing really well from them, I just want to get deeper with those 5 clients.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. One that comes to mind is you did business with a scaffolding company. They rented scaffolding, and that is one service. It's they pretty much rent 1 or 2 things to contractors. And that's all they do. So they're not really in the business to expand. I guess they probably could add services to benefit contractors.
Yeah, and it could be other deliverables. Maybe, okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think in that line of company. Okay. So, scaffolding is usually one of the first things on a project, maybe deconstruction or it's last as far as new construction because now walls are up, now you're painting, now you do this. So what could you deliver as you're picking up maybe?
Yeah. It's a great business actually that you mention it because they're the first ones in and that money's fresh.
Yeah.
So
or they could be the last ones on the new construction. So
Yeah.
deconstruction and renovations
that's true,
in the beginning. So, they could always look at what other, or if we already got that, what other rental stuff can we do along with that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that this idea of landing, expanding makes sense to some businesses, a lot of businesses, because you have multiple services you can provide. But what you're saying is, if you have one service or if you have multiple, going back and looking at the work you did, talking to those customers that you probably have a really good relationship with, and defining the key tenets that make you what you are. So, if safety, in for example, with scaffolding, if safety is a key tenet that you want to communicate to new customers, going back to your old ones and saying, how did we provide, how did you see that we were a safe company?
Right. Or efficient, delivered on time, picked up.
That's right. Trying to check the boxes on all of those things that your new customers are going to want to see.
And I like those things better because what I don't like in the business world is the old traditional advertising where it's one and done. You spent that $1 and it can never build on it. Yeah. It was just a print in a magazine or a print in a trade.
That's right.
And, those can be great.
Yeah.
But, once you've already established, what can you get and then build on it from there? So,
yeah, it's good. I'm glad you mentioned that because that really kind of goes to the heart of nurturing your current clients.
Yeah.
If you're in the service business and you serve a lot of a volume of customers like you do, then it's good to have mechanisms in place that you can consistently have your voice in front of them. So if you're wanting to talk about these tenets with them internally and gather them for the external awareness, it's good. Yeah, you run the ad, get the awareness, but then once they become a customer, now you have to continue to nurture them and retain them for the long term. So having mechanisms in place like we do with Surety, like email newsletters are great because once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever the rhythm is, you can stay in front of them and they continue to get value outside of the service that you're providing them. So you become this greater resource that is more valuable to them than just the service that you're transacting.
And then I think, a lot of times they get that level and they're like, oh, now we just want to spend money on advertising and get new ones.
Yeah.
But then that takes up a huge amount of your cost for your next iteration. So it's like,
that's true.
Your buyers are paying for that advertising cost.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then you're not making money. So then you have to increase it. So I hate that. It's like wasted.
Yeah. And to the opposite of what we'll probably talk about on the retail side, I agree with that on the service side because service, just a generality, because there's hybrids, there's, servicing. Yes. But a lot of service-based businesses are B2B. And therefore, it is more heavy on the sales aspect than it is the marketing aspect. So if you go blow all your money in marketing and advertising, you will probably have new customers. But what are you going to do with nurturing those customers? Because that's how you.
I see a lot of software companies out there that their clientele are banks, and then when you see their marketing and it is not focused on their existing customers, it's like, okay, well, you're hollow. If you can't showcase, your existing customers on how you help them or their profitability or how your instruction with them, you're not a startup anymore. So you're hollow. Like that is a telltale sign right then and there.
It's kind of smoke and mirrors a little
Absolutely.
bit. Yeah.
So, just kind of like look at companies and then look at, their posts they do.
Yep.
On LinkedIn and things. And you kind of see it's like, okay, you're all over the place because nothing is catching on.
That's right.
And if you've already been around a few years, you're not going to be around a few more years.
If you're always talking about what you're going to do, then it's not going to land peacefully on your new prospects' ears. It's going to be like, they're going to see through it eventually, and they're going to see, well, there's something missing here, whereas this other company kind of already has shown the track record. I think that's really what you're talking about, is like being able to go back and show your track record.
Yes. Like, here's where we said we were going to do something, and here's how we followed through.
That's how we did it, yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing how it's that simple, but these, especially startups. I mean, we're talking about companies that have been in business and do have a track record. Well, go back. That's key. You go back and, show the new prospects.
I don't need to tell you what I'm going to do. Here's what we did, and here's how it was successful.
Right.
Done.
And in context to the current prospect's needs. So, you're having this need. We understand that you're having that need because we had another client that had that need, and here's how we handled it. Is that sufficient?
Correct.
That's so much more, engaging than it is to say, here's what we're going to do.
This reminds me, in our specialty line of business, we need to go back and track like the number of customers that have left us.
Yeah.
Because
attrition. Yeah.
They haven't. The ones that have left us is ones that, they sold their business and that business was already in it and maybe they had an existing relationship. Yeah. Those are the only ones that we left in a viable other than we had to leave them for non-compliance.
Yes. And depends on your business what that attrition rate looks like. Sometimes it's a little higher and it's naturally higher because it's based on how your service fits the nature of the client's business. But in yours, it's once they're in and they have a good experience, they're here. And so your attrition rate should naturally be low just based on the type of service you offer. But if you can go back and demonstrate that it's
so I'm going to start doing that
exceptionally
now with
low
software companies that are trying to sell me. Give me your attrition rate.
Yeah,
let's see
that's it.
But I mean, how are you going to prove that that's real too?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to.
Yeah. In their terms, it's churn.
Yeah.
It's like not just left because the business changed. No, it's churn because I'm not satisfied with the service. And they probably won't want to give you those numbers.
Yeah. And I think we need to, anytime there's a company, I'm really sick of it where they're trying to get you to say, reframe your thought process. Everything, it's that just always galls me.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to get me to think like you, which is not how I.
It didn't work, So you're just trying to tell me, hey, what you're doing, hey, stupid, come over here.
Yeah,
rethink it this way. Everybody, it's the same thing, but rethink it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the innovators. I swear, every bank that hires a chief innovation officer, 99% of them. They're horrible. They're not innovating shit. All they do is regurgitate. They might as well be a fitness performance Instagram person.
Yeah,
they have just as much good content on innovation as a fitness Instagram performer.
It's true.
That's it. Most of them are selling Bitcoin at the same way too. Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know how we got off topic, but those are some of the.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Key points that drive me nuts when I see that. It's like people are actually paying attention to this. It's not what they do.
Yep. Yeah, they give me another idea. I'm going to save it for the retail side.
All right, let's
jump over there and talk about retail.
I think we kind of beat this. All right.